Hello and welcome to my F1 25 driver career mode here today for part 10 for the Japanese Grand Prix at the legendary Suzuka circuit for round 2 of the 2025 Formula 1 season. So we come into qualifying now where we've run a bit wide at 130R ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix where it's sunny for qualifying. It is meant to rain for the race tomorrow, but we round the final corner, come up to the line, we cross it, and that lap's going to put us into P12. We went again, same set of tyres, and we've found half a second on this lap as we go through the final chicane. Now round the final corner, we've dropped to P13, we come up to the line, we improve, but we stay P13. And in our final run, we've dropped to P14.
To P13.
As we come into the final chicane, and we haven't improved on this lap. We're a couple of hundredths down, and we've just found some time out of the final corner, but it's not going to be enough, and we're going to start P14.
This is legendary Suzuka with a long and storied history dating right back to 1987. There is more history to be written here today. Welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at a wet and windy Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with Sector 1 likely to prove especially difficult in these conditions. We should see overtaking into turns 1 and 16 today, and maybe a few Kobayashi-style dives into the hairpin as well. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Tsunoda, Carlos Sainz and Russell, Hayes, Leclerc, Hamilton, Gabriel Bortoleto, Albon, Ocon, Lance Stroll, Brown, Alonso, Hülkenberg, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Joshua Pearce, Behrman, Gasly, Doohan, and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And we welcome you to the commentary box overlooking the circuit. I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm joined by Anthony Davidson. Well, they say you're only as good as your last race, and on evidence there, that was very good indeed. How do they carry that form through to today?
You've done it once, can you do it again? But, you know, if you start believing in yourself and the confidence starts to build, that inner confidence is what you need. And you can carry that through to future races, including this one, and you set that ball rolling. That's the critical thing that they're looking for here. And I believe if you've got that first race win or a win at any stage, it can start to roll with you in a good way.
So as the cars make their way now onto the grid, it is raining, it's very, very light rain, but it is enough for the Inters. Maybe it will stop, maybe we'll see the dry tyres at some point in this race as Hadjar, the final car, makes his final spot on the grid, and we can go racing for the Japanese Grand Prix. And we are racing here in Japan. We're pulling off the line, but we've still got a fairly decent start. We're going to go to the inside of the half with Ocon. Now try and brake later, get up the inside of the Sauber, but we've run a bit wide there. The Sauber and the Williams, that's Bortoleto, both side by side as we try and keep the car in a straight line and fend off the Haas there. Now going through the S's, Bortoleto's dropped the rear, and we're going to go sailing around the outside of him and get the job done, and he's lost out to Lance Stroll as well as Bortoleto. We've had a fairly decent start here. We've gained a couple of places. As we come up to the end of lap 1, we made a little mistake. We're up into P11. Now this is Bortoleto on the back of both of us here, and he's got a great run as Lance Stroll goes for a look at us, and Bortoleto is going to try and do the Aston Martin around the outside, but he runs a bit wide and he has to live to fight another day with that one. As us and Lance Stroll started to pull away from Bortoleto, Stroll trying to find a way through on us into turn 1, but we keep him behind for now as halfway round lap 3 now, coming round Spoon, run a bit wide, we've dropped the rear a little bit, and now we're going to left vulnerable to Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon in the Haas, who's overtaken Bortoletto. We're going to be side by side here. 3-1-30, our Lance Stroll has got us. Ocon no can't. And we go into the chicane, and we've lost out to Sir Lancelot. We're down into P12, and now we may be under pressure by the Haas of Ocon here, going down into turn 1. Is he going to get us? He goes to the inside, and I think he has got us here, and he has got us. We're back down near enough to where we started in P13, and that may well be that, as they do start to pull away a little bit. I was really struggling on these inters, and to be honest, the track felt near enough on the crossover point for the dries. If we could get the temperature into them, maybe there's a risk there that we could go on to the dry tyres, because we were sliding everywhere. Yes, it was still raining, very light, but we are going to gamble here. We're outside of the points, it's worth a try. So we are going to come into the pits at the end of lap 4, going on lap 5, and we're going to go off the inters and put on the yellow medium tyres, and let's see if this is a good call and we can catch those in front, or we've made the biggest mistake ever and we're going to go tumbling even further behind now, as we're a pit stop behind our teammate Hadjar in P21 as we come out of the pits now around the first couple of corners. And now we're struggling a bit for grip, trying to get the tyre temperature. We've nearly dropped the back end there. We can see the front tyres are ice cold as we go into the hairpin now, and we struggle to get out of the hairpin. This might not have been the brightest decision, but this is only the first lap on the tyres. This is Alex Albon sitting in P10. He's dropped the rear, he's dropped it, and he's gone into the barrier. He's hit the barrier at the second corner, and now he's struggling to do a 3-point turn to get himself back onto the track. I'm not sure what he's doing here. He needs to turn the steering wheel, as he's still doing a 3-point turn, trying to get out of the barrier. It's gone horribly wrong from Albon. He's lost half of his front wing. He's now finally pointed the car in the right direction, and now there is us going through. That's the amount of time he's lost from P10 to stone a dead last. He's going to have to pit to change that front wing, and that little mistake has ruined his race. This is a replay of what happened then, and he's dropped the rear, and he's continued to light up the rear tyres. And now, why did he struggle so much? Oh, that's why he was struggling, because he kept turning left towards the barrier rather than right and away from it. Clearly doesn't know his left or rights today. Finally though, there he is. He's got the car straightened in the end. Lap 10 though, we were still struggling into the chicane. We actually managed to get the gap down by 3 seconds. 15 seconds is the gap now. It was 18 when we came out of the pits, which filled me with a bit of hope. But everyone now is pitting for another set of inters, as now we are going to come out just behind Hulkenberg. We've beaten out the Alpine there of Gasly, as we nearly dropped the rear again. I really don't think these mediums are the tyres, but we'll see now. Can we stick with Hulkenberg? Can we overtake him? But we're really struggling now. We've been on these tyres 9 laps as well, so that's not helping either. But as we come on to the end of that lap, you can see Hulkenberg is gone, and now we're side by side with Gasly, and he's got us before we even get to 130R there. And I think we are going to have to admit defeat here and admit that the dry tyres aren't the way to go here. So at the end of lap 14, we are going to pit to go back onto the inters. It was worth a gamble. We were already out of the points, but it has now completely ruined our race, and we're basically going to be battling Albon now at some point. Back onto the inters we go. The race is basically done. We're going to have to hope for a safety car here. to have any chance of getting back into the race. Albon has just gone through, so we are back to being stone at dead last as we come out of the pits now on lap 15. And we're still struggling for a bit of grip, but there's more grip there than there was on the inters, on the dry tyres. As we come into the pits, we hit the wall because I decided, what's the point? We're not going to get back into this race. We might as well save the engine. It's been a horrible race, so we're going to retire from the Japanese Grand Prix.
Has left the entire field behind once more. It's victory for Max Verstappen.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
Here we go then, the top 3 from the race making their way onto the rostrum. Well, we've seen this one before. Max Verstappen on the top step once again.
So that's been your Japanese Grand Prix then, won by Max Verstappen. He got the fastest lap as well, but you don't get a point for that anymore. So it's back-to-back wins for Max Verstappen, and it's a 1-2 for Red Bull as Yuki Tsunoda gets on the podium at his home Grand Prix for the first time. Lando Norris P3 in his McLaren rounding out the podium, just ahead of his teammates Piastri and Charles Leclerc P5. And then down at the back, of course, we retired just to save the engine. Horrible race, especially after how good Australia was as well. Sainz also retired as well in that race, so it was a pretty shocking day for Williams as well. Hadjar, then our teammate, was the final car on the road today. Max now has a 22-point lead over the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Yuki Tsunoda moves up into P3. He is just 4 points off Charles Leclerc. George Russell is P4 and Lando Norris is P5, and we've dropped down from P4 in the championship all the way down to P8, but we're not in this title fight. Very much an outlier. And then there's still a lot of drivers still yet to score this season after the opening 2 rounds, but it is Oliver Bearman who is last. And then in terms of the constructors, Red Bull pull out the lead now to 30 points over Ferrari, who have moved up into P2. McLaren are now P3, Mercedes P4, we've dropped to P5, with Sauber, Alpine and APXGP still yet to score. So at the end of the Japanese race weekend, Mercedes got in contact with us and want to sign us for 2026. We are going to continue the talks just to see what happens, but we're very much part of the Red Bull family. So that's been your Japanese Grand Prix race weekend. I hope you have enjoyed it. We go though to Bahrain next, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.